Hey there, are you grieving the potential loss of a loved one or feeling overwhelmed with the loss of someone you care about? If so, you're in the right place. Lisa Hartung here, and this podcast is designed to guide you through topics surrounding death and dying. We'll dive into multifaceted aspects of grief, offering you a blend of personal stories, expert insights, and practical advice for your grief journey. May this be a safe space for you to learn, listen, and ask questions about your own life and loved ones. So grab your favorite beverage and let's dive in. Welcome back to another episode of Giving Grief Grace. Thank you all so much for coming on this mini-series journey with me. We have Ian McCartor here of the Ash Rose Foundation. Welcome, Ian.
Thank you. Good to be here again.
And so we are closing out our final week 4 of the Ash Rose Project. So over the past 30 days, Ian and I have been talking about my mom and the legacy that she left and the light that she shared with all of us. Week 1 was honoring the past. Week 2 was processing grief through creation. Week 3 was finding meaning in the present. And then this week is week 4, looking toward the future. And our focus is continuing the legacy and embracing hope as the artwork nears completion. And so I sent Mom's ashes to Ian, and he has been drawing up a masterpiece that I don't know what it looks like yet, but things are coming to him through our conversations. And now that Mom's ashes have arrived, she'll be integrated into this piece of artwork. And so today sums up our final conversation, and then we'll do another grand reveal in a couple weeks when Anne and I are together in person and we can see this beautiful work of art in real life. So I'm so grateful, Ian, for your time and for listeners for coming on this journey with us. It's just been such a healing part of my own grief journey, and I'm excited for listeners to check out the Ash Rose Foundation at theashrose.org and see what the Ash Rose is all about. And it's even special because today, the day that we're recording, is Ash Wednesday.
hmm
Which just makes it even more special. Ian, I will hand it on over to you and we can dive into this final week together.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you all for tuning in. And yeah, this week is special. It's bittersweet. It's always
Yeah.
it's tough to end this really beautiful journey, but as it goes as a meditation, it all just carries into the next thing. And so the idea with this week is building upon all the things that we've explored in the past several weeks, looking back and looking presently and now looking to what's ahead. And so we can just jump right into the questions.
Yes.
What words or phrases come to mind when you think about the legacy of your mom?
I think of vibrance. I think whimsy. The phrase bloom where you're planted is something that she said a lot and has come up a lot throughout the last 4 weeks. And then a phrase that I don't know why it came up immediately when I read this prompt, but she always was like, "Does the Pope wear a beanie?" And I'm like, I don't know. I guess that's the legacy of her just being smart and and silly.
I'll have to use that one too. Does
I
the Pope
think.
wear a beanie?
I
No,
know.
okay then.
I'm like, okay, moms. And then I was thinking of I lost mom when I had given birth to my first child. And so I am now going through this journey with you as I am raising my second child. And so he's still breastfeeding. And so I'm thinking about like this duality of rocking my baby and having mom present in a new way this time.
Mm.
Uh,
Wow.
those are just some things that have come to mind. I guess those are more images than phrases or words, but
Yeah, those are beautiful. I love bloom where you're planted.
hmm yeah. Yeah.
It's like
And
her.
yeah, and life's too short not to have an umbrella in your drink. So,
I love that one. Yeah. May we all remember.
yes.
Bring your umbrellas.
Yeah.
BYOU.
Yeah. So, yeah.
That's great. Thank you.
Hmm.
Beautiful words, beautiful moments. Next one. How would you describe the impact this process has had on your grief and healing journey?
Mm. So I think that it's forced me to slow down, contemplate, reminisce, um, and just really be grateful for the process. It's another layer of healing that I didn't know I needed, but I'm so grateful that I've had. I think the journey has also affirmed how much I miss my mom. And I think that comes up with a lot of people as they're going through celebration is there's also still that feeling of loss. But I think that speaking about her really helps us celebrate her life and the light and the joy that she brought to so many people and sharing her fun and whimsy. Just honoring her has been such a joy.
Mm,
To speak the words out loud, that's such a part of the healing process.
yeah.
Grateful for that.
Outward.
Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Bringing it out, right? We're growing together.
Yeah, that's it. It's allowing it to be back to life, not just within, but
Hmm.
out in the world again. Yeah. Well, it's been an honor to receive so many memories and just so much positivity and just so much celebration for your mom.
Yeah. Let's keep it going.
Keep it going. That's it. Doesn't ever have to end. It just changes, right?
Yes. Yeah. It's a
Yeah.
season.
Yeah.
Different celebrations, different seasons.
Yeah, and I love how this is all lining up with leaving the winter and then the presentation being that week of spring. It's just so iconic of the garden.
Hmm.
All right. 24. Reflect on the significance of sharing your mom's story with others through this project.
Mm. So it's been so much fun connecting with mom, thinking what mom would think, and I look forward to sharing her in a new way, as the portrait, as we have the portrait and we can share it with others. It's been fun sharing about the project with other people, and they're like, "Oh, that's so fascinating. Like, tell me more." And so it's been a joy to also just share about the Ash Rose Foundation and all that you do. I think that this is a really unique part of Mom's legacy. Not everyone has an Ash Rose painting or portrait, right? And she's displayed in a little beautiful box on our mantle, but she will also now be displayed as a portrait, which is, again, really significant because she was an artist. So we keep on going back to that. The artist becomes the art. And I think it's just full circle for her. And
Yeah.
that's really meaningful for me.
Yeah. So powerful.
Hmm.
And I love how people are so like intrigued because grief and death and loss is not typically an intriguing theme for most.
Hmm.
It's a way to draw that forward with people, not just like, oh, I don't know how to address this. I don't know how to approach this. Instead, curiosity should be forefront. Like,
Yeah.
even dealing in hospice situations, it's like when there's a loss, instead of saying, she's in a better place,
Mm.
or I know how you feel, or all these things you shouldn't really say, they sound good at the time, but they don't really acknowledge the truth of their experience.
Yeah.
Curiosity is such a good go-to, and that's what I tell
Mm.
people because wanting to know more is connection. And really, like when
Mm.
you can approach someone in that moment where they're feeling pain of loss and you can ask them to share more
Mm.
with that desire to know and to be there with them, that's huge. And so, with the
Oh,
hopes of this project, it's just a very easy movement into curiosity. to where it's like, wow, that's really interesting. I've never heard of that before. Tell me about your loved one. Tell me about all this. And then it just blooms, you know? It's a powerful tool to bring forth curiosity and wonder
Yes,
and
and
connection, ultimately.
it is the connection. And I love that you say curiosity. And that is such a great idea to have in your pocket as you are either going through the grief or, supporting someone who is grieving, to
Mm,
have curiosity, ask questions.
yeah,
I teach managers how to be more effective in my day job. And so much a part of it is asking questions.
yeah.
And so the more questions we can ask, the more information we can glean, and we can really learn about the different facets of the loved one. It's helpful and healing for the person to talk about them too.
Yeah. Well, it invites that expression where they aren't focused on the pain of the loss in that moment as much as they are the love and the remembrance of that person. And then that
Mhm.
shifts the consciousness to the person that is loved instead of the feeling of, oh, I've lost. Instead,
Mm.
it's like, well, here they are right now again in this moment.
Yeah,
And that communion with someone else to invite that person to share is a very powerful ingredient
yeah.
for
And
healing, especially in those moments.
listening, right? I'm sure that
Witness.
that's
Yeah.
such a big part of your role as in hospice as well is being present, witnessing, and
hmm
and
Yeah,
listening.
witness is the key word. The the watcher, the witness, the space holder, and
Mm,
it's a metaphor of the art also. It's like the art needs a witness.
mm,
It needs to be seen. And so to
yeah.
exist and become part of life, we need to express and be witnessed also. And it's so true for loss and love and
Oh, need to
it's
feel seen.
yeah.
It just touched me so much, Ian, because, my mom was an artist for so many years. And at her celebration, we had the whole art gallery.
Mm-hmm.
And so many people didn't know that she was an artist
Mm.
because she didn't show her artwork as much. And I'm excited to promote her art in new ways, to say,
Mm.
hey, like this is a really neat element of Emily Hartung, and how can we share her light? And now we have the Ash Rose portrait also, and she can be seen
Mm-hmm.
as an artist.
That's it.
Yeah. Ah,
Yeah.
curiosity, being a witness.
Curiosity. Yeah. My wife was to thank for that lesson. She's taught me a lot about that. Just the power of questions and wanting to know, truly wanting to know.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
It's the
powerful
best way
stuff.
to get to know people, right? And it's not
Yeah.
asking yes or no questions. It's asking, open-ended questions.
Yeah, questions that evoke the person to think about something, not just yes or no, or
Yeah.
do you miss the person? Yes, of course I do.
Yeah. Like, tell me what you miss
Tell
most.
me what you miss most. That's
Yeah.
it. And then,
Describe your favorite memory,
yeah.
right? Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that having questions is, it's a good pathway. Yeah. I'm glad that the journaling's been so helpful and, we can go through these questions and just kind of use that as a map because it's all about information, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
Well, thank you. 25. What do you hope others will feel when they see your mother's artwork?
Oh my gosh. I hope they feel as excited as I do.
Hmm
I from seeing your other pieces, there is so much emotion that one can experience from looking at the piece of art. And so I hope that that also evokes, joy and excitement and intrigue as
hmm
someone is looking at this piece. And, we talk a lot about the different layers and how each different element of the piece means something. And so I hope they smile. I hope it
Mm,
brightens their day. Art is, as you said, is meant to be witnessed, is meant to be seen and shared. And I'm excited to be able to share mom in that new light. And I hope that it brings light to others.
hmm. Yeah, I think that's been the biggest blessing of this medium is
Mm,
to have people see another and see themselves and to
mm,
see beauty in those moments to where, a lot of people have come to this work having faced a recent loss or a long dormant loss that hasn't been moved. And there's just something unique about seeing creation
mm,
that they know has come from something that they've experienced is so heavy and difficult to navigate that just an example of someone who's gone before us is such a powerful thing.
mm, mm,
Someone who's done the work or part of the work and has created something from it. It's the phoenix rising and you can see it and be like, wow, they did it. And maybe I can too. And
yes.
have that connection be reflected in the witnessing. And
Hmm.
so, yeah, that's
Inspiring.
and it's inspiration, right?
Hmm.
Right. It's breathing, inspiring is the breathing of life into something, it's
Yeah.
the refreshing of something maybe that was empty at one point.
Mm, hmm. It's that rebirth, regeneration, rejuvenation.
Mm-hmm.
Um, having quiet contemplative moments while you're looking at the art and thinking of everything that went into it and the legacy that it leaves.
And another word, recreation, it's when you take that time of leisure and silence and rest, you're
Yeah.
recreating. It's allowing that growth to happen. And so,
Hmm.
if you're just enjoying this time with your mom and you look at the portrait and allow those moments to just come back as a meditation or a prayer or conversation, that's recreation. You're recreating these memories and these emotions and these lessons and letting these things just trickle in and making space for those things.
Mm, yeah.
In the busyness of life, it's nice to have these little rituals or, some people call these artworks talismans. They're just very specific icons that inspire
Mm,
so much and remind you of so much
hmm.
and continue to teach you. They identify new things if you allow yourself to kind of look into it, you know.
Yeah, and I think the relationship with your loved one is always changing.
Mm-hmm.
And some people say they feel closer with their loved one after they've passed
I've heard
than
that
when they were
too.
here on earth. Again, that relationship continues. And so it's nice to have, as you say, a talisman to kind of ground
Mm-hmm.
and be a symbol of them,
Mm-hmm.
a piece of them.
Yeah. Yeah. In
Mm,
every way. Right.
yeah.
Yeah. So special. Thank you. I'm sure that people will feel that when they see your
I
mama.
hope. It's so much fun. I want to just take it around to everyone.
Dinner parties. This is
Do you
look
see
at
my
mother.
mom?
Did you see
She's
mom?
hanging out here.
Right. Literally. Yeah. I love it. Well, and it is. It's a way to bring them into the room in a completely different way. You
Yeah.
know, it allows that moment of remembrance to be refreshing in some ways, to where before some people have struggled for it not to be so heavy, and this just allows it to be present, like instantly present, and to be like, here she is. And then the stories come, and the laughter comes, and, the wonder and all the things. So,
Mm, yeah. It's the joy. It's the continued joy, the continued light
yeah,
and life. Hmm.
right.
Mm.
Yep. Honor to celebrate that. 26. Speaking of, what are some ways you plan to continue honoring your mom's memory in the future?
Oh, um, I was like, okay, well, all of the things. I really want like an Emily Hartung day, but we already have one at the library. Emily's Planting and Blooming Day, where we have story time, create like paint on your plant pot, plant your own little garden, and just be in community with other people. So that's something that we will continue doing at our local library in Farmington, Maine. We have our bench at the Coastal Maine Botanical Gardens with my mom's name on it. And my dad told me this past week, when I die, I want you to put my name on the bench with your mom. So,
Of
yes.
course.
So I guess we'll have to update the plaque at some point, but hopefully not for a while.
Yeah.
Continuing to honor my mom is just bringing whimsy into things and adventures. We used to make fairy gardens in the forest as we were, playing at camp, or, having an umbrella in your drink when we went a little fancy. And I do intend to write a book. There are two books I want to write. One is like a memoir of our funny escapades of like a mother and daughter getting into trouble. And then another one is of a kid's book of how meaningful being in the garden and how it's such a metaphor for life and growth and hardship and overcoming that. And those are some things I'm thinking about. I've thought about what to do with mom's artwork so that it can be seen
Mm,
more in what medium that makes. How do we share her art in a new way? So,
yeah, I love that. I pictured the title of your book, Umbrellas in Your Drink or something like that.
yeah.
Yeah. Looking
Oh my
forward to
God.
reading that.
There's a lot of fun stories.
Sure.
They're great. And the people who were part of them get a real kick out of it. So,
Hmm. Yeah. It's like Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants or something like that.
well, the Yayas, Yaya Sisterhood, the book.
Hmm.
My mom was a Yaya, and my aunties were very much the Yayas. And so, growing up with them as our role models, us kids are all like, all right, we know the Yayas are getting together.
That's it. Buckle
Fun's
up.
about to happen.
Umbrellas will be flying.
Yeah.
What a great example. You know, just really seizing life.
Yeah, just good friends getting together every single year.
Hmm.
They knew that was their Yaya weekend. So,
Right. Sacred time. Nothing
mm-hmm,
else to be planned.
mm-hmm. Yeah. So, I will continue that legacy for sure.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
As you should.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Question 27. How has participating in this project changed your perspective on grief, healing, or love?
I would say this was a much brighter side of grief. Week one was heavy, but much needed in terms of, right, we're tilling the soil so that we can grow. And so I thought that was really important. And then week two, a little bit as well. But it's also an affirmation of love never dies. And so love is always around us and within us. And then there's, new life and renewed purpose from this journey. And so I think that it's also appreciation. I feel like I've just been more grateful for everything. I practice gratitude every morning and every night and throughout each day. I always say gratitude is attitude and
Hmm.
gratitude grows. And so I think that this journey has been a real great opportunity to expand um, and share about mom, but then also share about, this is growth as a person and being able to put feelings into words and then speak about them. It's been a great growth experiment or a project as well.
Yeah. Growth. That's it.
Yeah,
No,
it's
it's
the
movement.
theme.
It's the theme. It's the rose growing, right? Yeah, and I like how you reflected the different modalities of that expression. It's putting the feelings into written words, through
Mm,
the writing, and then it's the
yeah.
actual verbal processing and expressing, sharing with another, and then selecting the photos and painting that picture for, sharing who your mom is through all these pictures and memories, and then, to see all of that then reflected back in another medium and another visual form, will be, just a good balance, I think, of consolidating the unseen into something heard or seen.
Mm-hmm. I'm excited to hear if you get any nudges from above as you're putting her into the painting or
Hmm.
into the artwork.
Yeah, me too. I'll keep you posted.
We'll talk about
Something always happens, so yeah.
that.
I've already, as I've been composing the piece, just with the symbols and the stories that you've shared and looking for references from your photographs and then Monet's and then looking at impressionist work, like it's all coming together. It's just so nice how it's like there's this searching space
Hmm.
where it's like, well, I could put that there, I could weave that in there, and this and that and this. And that's usually really brief until it's like, there it is. That's the way it's going to be. And I kind of came to that place today where it's like, I'm almost there, and I feel like your mom just needs to nudge a couple little more things around, and then it's going to be like, and that's the way it's going to be. And
She's
put
arrived.
an umbrella. Yeah, right. And then put an umbrella in it. It's done.
Yeah. Here's my cocktail.
Yeah.
Fancy beverage. Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, I'm excited to share, anything that comes through as it usually does.
Yeah. And I'm sure she's been the peanut gallery throughout. So
That's it. Just
speaking,
listening to the whispers. That's what
yeah.
this is all about.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Well, 28, what message would you want to share with others who might consider participating in the Ash Rose Project?
Mm. So I have a number of individuals that I work with, obviously in giving grief grace. That's, death and dying is very prevalent in the day-to-day work. And so I have been encouraging others to do it. Like just do it, take action. It's such a healing journey above and beyond, I guess going into it with no expectations and then being wowed by how I guess you get back what you put in, but then you get so much more too. And so really just diving in, head first and really just getting into it is something that it's reflective, it's celebratory. There's a fun element of surprise, right?
Mhm.
And that you're talking every week, you're meeting for 30 days, and you have no idea what's on the other side until the grand reveal. And so that's an exciting element as well. And so I think that for listeners who are on the fence of, oh, I don't know what to do, I do think that this is such an inspiring journey to be on. And I think it's such a healing part. I think it just added so much richness to my mom's legacy, to her story, to my grieving process. And I think everyone deserves that,
Mm,
and
yeah.
to be sharing it in such a cool medium. And, for listeners who are like, oh, well, I don't have any ashes, that's, you spoke about that before. If it's still, you can still work with people. Um,
I have.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And even for people who, it just lights a spark. It starts like, I may not have all the pieces to put into this specific project, but it's an example of a possibility, of creative potential. And it can look so different for so many other people that it's meant to be a beacon.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Mm-hmm.
and I liked what you said about, you're putting all this, you put in what you, or you get back what you put in, but so much more because there's this reflective collaboration to it.
Yeah.
And I love that metaphor also because when we put ourselves out there and we step into our healing journeys and we move through all these things that feel so heavy, that can become life affirming,
Mm.
you're putting so much of yourself into that journey, and you'll get something back, but it's such a greater magnitude because we have no idea of how our example and our giving is influencing everyone around us at any moment. You know,
Mm.
it's a humbling thing to be subject to the mystery of that, and how
Yeah.
you're giving of yourself and you're vulnerable and you're putting yourself on a very courageous line to heal and to share that healing journey that connects with another person who benefits from being a witness.
Mm.
And in this case, I am your witness, and I'm the witness of your mom, and
Yeah.
I'm giving you something specific with this project, but that's just a symbol of how that's magnified and how that little piece can become so much more. And it's compounding, exponential. That's the word,
Uh-huh.
exponential,
Yes.
because it's so interconnected with everything and everyone else's journey, and you inspire another, and the candle lights another
Mm.
flame and another flame and another flame, and it's just the
Mm.
giving never ends. And that's a wonderful mystery to step into because you don't know the impact you're going to have by giving of yourself and choosing to heal and choosing
Mm.
to move and grow. Like you said, the growth, you're choosing the growth. And the metaphor also in the title of our project is the ash rose. It's a verb also.
Mm-hmm.
It already has happened. It has risen. And the rising is an action. You're
Yeah.
choosing to rise.
It's such a beautiful thought or image. It takes guts to embark on this journey, but it's so worth it. We are all rising together, right? And sharing our communal experiences and sharing the light of the loved ones and letting them speak through the artwork.
Yeah. And all that it represents in life,
Hmm.
just all the things that are still there, but just need to come forth in
Mm.
every day.
Yeah.
Yeah. Lovely.
Mm.
As you prepare to receive the finished artwork, what do you hope it will bring into your life and home?
Oh my goodness. I'm just so excited. Mom's gonna be here in with what did she used to say? Bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, or coming with my bells and whistles, or
Bells on, maybe, yeah.
bells on. Like, um, I just think it'll be such a bright light in our lives. And, it's funny, but my mom had a mannequin because she had a boutique for her career. And so when she closed the shop, we kept the mannequin. And at her service, or her celebration of life, we dressed the mannequin up like my mom with her favorite dress, her favorite jewelry, her favorite glasses,
Oh.
and her wig, and people would take selfies with her. And so
Cute.
my like we just kept her up, and so she's still at my summer house overlooking her garden. And every time we go, my daughter goes, "Good night, Mimi. Good
Mm.
morning, Mimi." And so it's this one like constant reminder that Mimi's still with us. And so I'm so excited to have a piece of Mimi, even though we have a little piece of her on our mantle. My daughter doesn't really see that as Mimi, but she'll
Mm.
understand this piece of work in a much different way. And so she'll be able to say good morning and good night to Mimi. And so I also think it'll be Mimi will have her presence here in a different way. Um, it's so comforting, right? To have a loved one in your home, right? Someone said the most important and precious time in your life is spent within the four walls of your home. And so it's great to have her come home.
Mm, that's beautiful. Yeah. Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Excited to reunite her with you guys in a few short weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah. Last question. What is one meaningful step you can take today to continue embracing healing and connection?
Mm. Yeah, I think you really hit the nail on the head with being curious and sharing curiosity about others' loved ones and leading with light, being present, witnessing. Like, I will continue to embrace healing and connection through stories
Mhm.
and through art, through sharing love. I believe we all come to Earth to be on a journey for some reason, and we come in and out of each other's lives when we need each other most. Just being part of that journey for others is such a blessing.
Yes.
Continuing to share whimsy and creativity and kindness and light. I think the Ash Rose Foundation and you as an artist, Ian, you're such a gift to this world. And I'm excited to see you and the Ash Rose Project evolve and the foundation really grow. And I'm just feel so grateful to have been 1 month a part of the Ash Rose Foundation and with the project. I will continue to share, the light and the love and the kindness that comes from this experience.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, and really my goal with this project as well and the community that it creates and just the
Mm,
witness bearing capacity of this expression, the effect that that can have interconnected into community and within participants of the project, it's just I'm excited to keep you posted on future plans for how you can keep bringing your mom into that space and sharing that story alongside others and inspiring people who need it
yeah, it's
to
it's
inspire
it's so
curiosity.
so neat to think about when you have galleries with all of the portraits together and all of those legacies
Mm.
together in one room and just what power and energy, and new life comes from that. And
Oh, it's so palpable, and to just feel the aliveness in that room when everyone's sharing stories and asking about all these little details and just the positivity and
mm,
the emotion that's there because there's grief in that room too. There's always the undertone of why everyone's there.
mm, yeah,
These are all artworks that came from the same situation, a different type of relationship, but it's all based on loss. And so it's such an interesting dance to feel the pain
yeah,
of the reason, but also just the surprising opposite, that there's such life and laughter and celebration and
mm,
inspiration in these moments and people just connect so quickly. There's just such a transparency because it's like, wow, I see you. Wow, I get it. I know. And there's just such a commonality between everybody. And then also just
yeah,
to look at the artwork as an example of how there's that representation within all of us and there's
mm,
that depth and that beauty and
mm,
story to everyone that we see and everyone in life. We all have these things within us and we hold them most of the time. And it's just it's a call to evoke that from others and invite them to share. It's this invitation to allow them to be and to bring those things forth.
mm.
Masterpieces, every single person.
And again, you feel so seen because you've gone through the journey or a similar journey.
It prepares you, part of just from my grief counselor background too, it's like this project assembles the the clarity for everyone who ends this 30 days and receives this artwork.
Mm.
They've gone through so much within themselves and have practiced expressing these things and identifying these things and connecting meaning to these things and finding hope in these things that for the rest of their lives they're better equipped,
Mm.
and they have these as a platform and as a tool to be able to speak with more emotional clarity and more distinction of what is just pain and what is meaning and what is love and what is grief, and just being able to see all these things within themselves clearer to where, it's just the beginning now, you know?
Just the beginning.
Yeah,
Yeah, right? It's the beacon. It's
exactly.
to help us spring forth and grow our branches and bloom in different ways. And
Allow that color and fragrance to be free for the season. And then be okay when the season comes back around and there's that time of withdrawal and that
mm,
time of closing and calmness and silence and pain, and embracing that as a natural part of this process. And then know that there's a path to spring again, and you've walked it,
mm,
and you're ready to embrace it all and cherish it all because it all informs the next season. It's all essential.
there's a path to spring again. I loved that.
Mm,
So there's a quote that I keep thinking of that we had inscribed in the wind chime for my mom. I wrote it in the card to you, but I wanted to share it with our listeners. It's part of a poem by William Wordsworth. The poem's I Wandered Lonely as a Cloud. And the phrase is, and then my heart with pleasure fills and dances with the daffodils.
beautiful.
And, daffodils are a sign of, in Australia, it's a sign of Cancer. And so they have Daffodil Day. But, it's just thinking of that. Daffodils are the first ones that come up in the spring.
They lead the
So,
way.
yeah, they pave the way. And out of darkness, there comes light. And we can dance amongst the daffodils.
Beautiful.
Yeah. What a journey, and the ups, downs, and all arounds of life, and pausing to reflect and share and fully revel in each of the different feelings and the emotions, right? Giving grief grace is all about that, making space for everything, but also having that sliver of sunlight that's always there amidst the darkness.
That's
Mm.
right. Yeah. Well, thank you for embarking on the journey, and excited to dive in and listen to your mama.
Yes. Oh my gosh, Ian. I can't wait for you to hear her. Like, I hope you have a blast just connecting. And I'm again so grateful for this journey. And thank you so much for coming on the show over this time. And I look forward to, doing another episode with the grand reveal. I always say it's not goodbye, it's I'll see you later. And so you never know when paths cross in the future and how we lift one another up. And
We
what a
rise
like,
together, like you said.
yeah, it's such a blessing. So thank you again, Ian, for everything. And I can't wait to see you in real life in a couple weeks.
That's right. North Carolina, here we come.
All right, the daffodils have already come up here. Uh,
Already. All
mhm.
right. Well, they're checking it out for the rest of them, right?
Yeah, they have started. M- My daughter always was like, "Mom, can we go pick the daffodils?" I'm like, well, let's let everyone enjoy them.
It's
So
like
leave.
quick before someone else gets them.
I
But yeah.
know. So, yeah, but super grateful, Ian. And so, thank you, listeners, for coming on this journey with us. Stay tuned and wishing everyone a wonderful Lent season. If you practice the season of Lent, enjoy this journey that we call life.
Mm,
So, thanks again, Ian. We'll see you soon.
thank you, Lisa.
Thanks so much for listening to this week's episode of Giving Grief Grace. It would be such a gift if you could share this episode with someone and brighten their day. You never know what will happen. Subscribe to get a weekly dose of positivity, and while you're at it, please leave a review. May you be kind to yourself in the week ahead and give yourself grace. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you next week.